Hi, my name is Myra Tanksley, and I am recording this on January the 7th, 2017. Happy New Year. And this is another um, audio tape of my son for the page, the audio tapes of Marquis Tanksley, his suffering, abuse, and neglect. And my son is autistic. He's been kidnapped and held in a very sick, corrupt, evil system that's exploiting him for federal funds. He's been abused in many ways and neglected in many ways over and over again because I am a mother who dares to speak out and advocate advocate for my son. I have been pushed out of seeing him. They're trying to destroy our family, but they haven't been able to do it because you know, my son loves his mother, and this mother loves her son. And we're just as close and bonded as ever. But they think, separating him from me um, will also destroy our relationship. But the number one reason why they do that, they do it because they want to make sure that I don't find out things. So they pushed me out. They took the guardianship away and gave it to a corrupt, unfit, sick, evil, dirty attorney named Aaron Sanford, who doesn't care anything about my son. Um, she works in private practice, but she also works for the system. So the corrupt probate court of Franklin County of Ohio, and I'm sure there's many across the country, they will appoint these attorneys that they know ain't gonna create no waves. They're just there for a signature. There's some just to say, well, since he needs a guardian, they'll sign off on the paperwork or on anything they want to do with my son. That's what she does. She has no emotional attachment to him. So I have two other pages since we're talking about this audio tape page. They're on Facebook. The first one is the abuse and neglect of autistic Marquis Tanksley by the government. The second one is Justice for Autistic Marquis Tanksley, and this third one is the audio tapes of Marquis Tanksley, his suffering, abuse, and neglect. And one of the sickest fantasies that they have is, like I said, um, trying to make me and my son out to be a dysfunctional family where, and they say that I escalate him. And my son always vents to me. But when he's venting to me, he's not venting about me. He's venting to me about all the pain and suffering and wanting to come home because of the environment that they put him in. And I have yet to see anybody, um, you know, really know how to work with my son. And I have just hundreds of tapes of my son and of them because what I'm doing is letting people with this third page hear Marquise's own words. They can hear his suffering. They'll hear him tell me how he wants to come back home. They'll hear him describe how he's been abused. Robert hit him in the head, or, they're restraining me, or, they'll hear the pain and the hurt because I praise God that he is verbal. He is high functioning autistic, but I'm starting from 2012 at Columbus Developmental Center, which is a state of Ohio operated and ran. That's their facility, just put it that way. And it's a developmental center, but that's what they call them, but they're actually ICFMR, so they're intermediate care facilities for the mentally retarded. Marquis never belonged there. Um, they He was there like voluntarily for 47 days while we were getting our house done. Then he came back home. He was abused and neglected. Then he was involuntarily committed there, and he should have never been involuntarily committed there because to be involuntarily committed, you had to have a moderate level of mental retardation, and my son is not mentally retarded. He's autistic. And even their so-called psychologist wrote that no longer works there. But then again, during the second time, he was abused and neglected And he was also assaulted. Both times he was assaulted at Columbus Developmental Center. And as I listened to these tapes, also on the tapes are conversations that I had with their staff, their superintendent, their program director, their so-called officials. And you could just hear how they were so angry that I dared to even uh, tell them and educate them about um, what was going on with the staff and what my son was reporting to me. And even the former superintendent, his name was D. Michael Snow, but I call him Michael Snow, um, was saying Marquis was trying to get his staff in trouble. And I'm going like, idiot. Autistic people don't sit up around in their rooms or sit up all day long and try to get people in trouble. They don't have that cognitive ability. They don't, try to get revenge. They just tell it like it is. They feel the pain. Sometimes it might not come out all out as easily as it would be for somebody that doesn't have autism. But they don't make up. What I'm saying, they don't lie on people. But he said Marquis is trying to get his staff in trouble. But it turns out that Marquis wasn't lying after all. Because when he had told me a guy named Robert hit him on the head, guess what? Another resident actually came up to me and told me the same thing at a different time. And this resident was a middle-aged white MR. He was mentally retarded, but he was a high level of mental retardation. And then the second time, I actually seen with my own eyes a thug come over there and punch Marquis in the chest. God had it set up where I could see him, but he couldn't see me. Now I seen that with my own eyes. And then there's racial components in this and stuff because white people can't stand for you to speak up or say anything. I've seen some of them just bristle like just because they can't stand because you're supposed to keep your mouth shut. You're not privileged to say anything. You're supposed to just hold your head down and not say anything. They hate that when black people do that. And I am a Christian, so I respect humankind, mankind, but I don't reference nobody. I'm not intimidated or scared of nobody. And I sure don't have reverence for nobody but Jesus, but God. But I also, have read the Bible. That's my favorite book. And God gives me the answers. He tells me the knowledge that I need to know. And racism exists. God's got examples of it in there. He talks about it in certain books of the Bible. You got this injustice that exists. God talks about it and stuff. So I know it exists. But you got people in denial. And that's what's so bad about this country. Everybody gonna deny it, And I'm at the age now that I don't care what people think. I just tell it like it is. But I'm also an evidence girl. I like to come with my evidence. And that's why I got 3 pages out there. And I probably got about 50 audio videos in my YouTube channel and counting. And I call them audio videos because you have to make a video. But they never really have any video on it. It's just basically audio. And I also have a videotape of the last time I was able to view my son. Because like I said, they have isolated him from me. Can't have her being able to see him and expose us. Because I'm exposing them real good. And ain't nothing they can do about it. It's there. And it can't be taken back. And it'll be Jesus that'll have to tell me to take these pages down. And he hasn't told me that. So I have not been allowed to visit with him. The last visit we had was March the 15th, 2015. The last time I seen him was July the 8th, 2015. And within 3.5 months, he had just ballooned up. He looked entirely different. He had gained so much weight because they have him on Thorazine and lithium. And I had to give him Cogent for side effects. But they don't even prescribe Thorazine, even to these true schizophrenics. And he is not allowed, because like I said, I haven't seen him or have been allowed to have any visits with him since March 15, 2015. And that includes holidays and birthdays. And the lying, unfit attorney Aaron Sanford told the court, and they're all together, they're all corrupt, they're all sick. I said, 'Cause these people sick in the head. They just pure. I mean, it's just and I'm just waiting for God to get because it's just like having legalized criminals in your life. I said, they can talk about all these criminals in one. I said, but ain't nothing worse than a legalized criminal. That because them people, God has to shut them down because they get away with a lot of that stuff. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, lying, practicing injustice, and all that kind of stuff. They're getting paid for it. So, um, she told the court that he gets to talk to me several times a week. Because not only do they lie on me, because they slander me something terrible, but they lie on my son. And I haven't talked to him since December the 10th, 2016. Because during the holidays, he's really, really, really sad. Well, he's sad all throughout. Ever since he's been kidnapped by them, he has told me, Mom, I miss you, I love you, and this is how they treat me. And I could tell that they're abusing him. My son doesn't have to, you know, always tell me things. And when I used to go over there at the state facility, and that's what I told them idiots. Well, if he did, I said, he doesn't have to tell me he's being abused. I said, don't insult my intelligence. I can look at him and tell he's been abused and neglected. There's untreated scars. There's untreated sores, fresh sores. There's clothes that he's got on that don't belong to him that he should be wearing. Because I was buying just sets of clothes all the time. I mean, just brand new sets of clothes. 98% of the stuff they never allow him to wear. You know what they would do with it? They would steal it because they were brand new clothes and make him wear clothes that belong in the lost and found box or something because they never was fitting. They were dirty. I said, what's my son's clothes that I done bought up here for him to wear? So I could prove all of that. I'm not just full of hot air, but we got some human filth in our life. Erin Sanford, she's filth. She's an attorney, but she's human filth. And like I said, they need to be disbarred. Anytime of all the profession, you're going to be lying and not upholding the law and exploiting people for money because she gets this SSI check. She doesn't need to be a lawyer. I said, that kind of human garbage gives lawyers a bad name. And then you got judges. I mean, all these people practicing justice. Just look it up. All the different scriptures that God talks about when he talks about, that he put in the Bible when he talks about injustice. And he's pretty angry about it. So nobody can sit up and say, why are you full of hot air? Or, that is just my imagination. Because my authority as far as getting knowledge, that's where I get my knowledge from. I get it from the Bible. And sometimes not really my knowledge. It's just God just telling you, boom, this is the way it is. This is what's happening in the world. This is how the world was made. This is what I sent Jesus to do. This is what Jesus did. He came back to life. And I just accept it as being the truth because God is truth. So getting back to this particular audio tape, it was recorded on February the 4th and February the 5th, 2012. And back then, I was not recording on a smartphone, so it's not as clear. I was recording on a micro cassette. And I think probably it was February 2013 when I started recording these conversations on a smartphone. So they'll be very much clearer. There'll just be a better audio quality. But as I was going through, and as I've been going through these audio tapes, it's just amazing how, these people would shudder and lie, and you could tell they were upset when I would ask to speak, because I recorded my son, of course, but I recorded them too, their responses. When I called them, the recorder was on, and you just wouldn't believe the lies and the you could tell that they resented me even speaking up. And like I told Mike Snow, I said, you just don't have a lot. And I told a girl named Carrie that. And I think I told Heidi Hughes, which was a social worker, and they gave her some little fancy title. And I told him, I said, you don't have, there's a lot of unqualified workers over there. I said, because a qualified worker to me means somebody that knows what autism is. They don't take it personally because you got to have the personality to deal with special needs people and know how to work with the family. I said, because they can get bad. When I used to go over there and just ask, how he's doing before I go into his room, especially those native Africans, they would just get so, but all the staff, they would just get very upset because they do those people and abuse those residents dirty and wrong. And it's usually a code of silence. Nobody's supposed to go outside and tell on them. And it's a culture over there. Just keep quiet, and they don't like anybody coming around that could see the dirt, and more importantly, that would expose them. Speak up about it, or make a complaint about it. But they get mad when I be asking. I said, well, I'm his mother. And at that time, I was his legal guardian too. And I said, I have a right to know. And I love my son. And that's another thing. I said, I don't know why these idiots think I love my son less than the way they love their kids. And I said, well, they'll see that I really love Marquis. I said, because not only do I speak out about him, I said, I vow that the world would know, that it would be put out there what the hell, the kind of hell that they have been putting him through. And that he continues to suffer. Because I'm going to do all of these audio tapes. They go all the way up to current. But I want to do it, from 2012 on up. And that's why I said February 2013 is when I start recording on the smartphone. So it should be a lot clearer. The quality of it would be a lot clearer. But they just had put him through hell. But their secret fantasy is to try to break up our family. And I said, well, I know y'all slander me because ain't not none of that scum out there. Aaron Sanford, Mike Snow, Consumer Support Services, Robert Montgomery, uh, the court investigators, ain't none of them gonna say that I'm slandering them. Because I just don't do it that way. I come with evidence. I don't have to sit up and make up um, sick, evil things or sick, evil people. But they have always slandered me. I said, because I done rebut and prove Aaron Sanford is a pathological liar. And I'll tell her to her face. I said, I would show her the hand and say, you need to go to that Facebook page. Go to YouTube channel and see the audio videos I got on you, lying on me. And I got one of her saying she couldn't handle mental health caseloads and those type of caseloads from her own mouth, which means she's unfit. But that's why I said she need to be disbarred for being a lying lawyer. But not only will they slander me, because that's what slander is. The defense to slander is if it happens to be true, then you're not slandering the person. But they have lied on Marquis. I said, because you're trying to say that this young man, this individual, gets escalated by his mother, like he hates his mother, and he doesn't. That's the reason why he's on tape, idiots, telling me how much he wants to come back home and how much he misses me and misses my calls. It's throughout, and it continues to this present day. And that's why I said, you don't speak for my son, because Marquis is verbal. So, and I taped it, so we'll let Marquis hear in his own words, how he feels about his mom and how he has been treated by them. But that's the kind of sick human filth we got in our lives. But they don't want to deal with me. And I was actually even listening to, like I said, on these microcassettes, there's also recordings of me talking to staff in whatever capacity. And they were so irritated that I would even ask anything about Marquis. And that Mike Snow, well, I told you I don't want to deal with you in the school because they don't want to deal with me. But, I'm not seeking any kind of legal help. I got an attorney, and his name is God. And vengeance belongs to the Lord. I said, because after I seen what he did with the late David Belinky, they better hope that God don't get too angry. Because I'll never forget that feeling while that man was talking to me on the phone when he got to, and this woman's a preacher, and bragging about how he runs over people in court. I think it was phenomenal. I knew God was going to punish him, but and I read the Bible all the way through 3 times, and God will punish people in his life. He killed Samuel's 2 sons. The Bible said because they were evil. That's all they. It says the prophet Samuel's. He had 2 sons, and the Bible said that God killed both of them. The reason they were too evil. So God will deal with people in his own way in his own time. And as a Christian woman, I know God is in control. He's protecting my son. My son's to suffer, but God does his thing and takes care of business way ahead of time. The time's already been appointed for Marquis to come back home. His timing, his method. And that's what I truly believe. Because nobody's going to keep Marquis from his destiny. The destiny that God has already appointed for him. And when the time comes, boom, he's going to be back home with his mom. But God will sometimes move people out of the way, and that's the end of it. Sometimes he'll take a life off this planet, or he'll punish people. Because you don't want God angry with you, and you don't want to try to battle with God. You can't outbox God. So that's where our lives, we've been in his hands, and he has control over our lives and their lives. But like I told Marquis, I said, at the appointed time, you're out of there. If God wants you back home, ain't nobody going to be able to stop that. You're coming back home. But God also doesn't like how he has suffered. Because here he is. He ain't no inmate. I said, even these death row inmates get more privileges than he has. Because they got him in a rundown, sorry town home over there near James and Broad Street. And it's got this great big black lock gate around it. Because the neighborhood's so bad, they put a gate around it to keep Marquis and them in. But I guess to keep the thugs and the hoolans and uh, out. And then the staff, you know, I got them on there. I remember when they took the phone away from him and was uh, fussing at him, telling him he needed to get off the phone. And then they just grabbed the phone. And that's when I called the police. I called the police. I said, because I think they might be over there beating him now because the phone went dead, which is physical assault. And the police couldn't believe it. They said, well, why would they get mad because he's talking to his mother? I said, right, bingo. I said, but that's the kind of scum we're talking about. But it's all been exposed. But, they have stopped him from calling me, and God will pick it up. It's going to be the way God wants it. But like I said, it's been almost a month because it's, January just turned January 8th, but 2017. And last time I talked to him was December the 10th because they know he'll be on the phone telling me, Mom, I want to come back home. And because he's been saying it. He just doesn't say it around holiday time. But he'll say, I want to be home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But he says it all the time. But yet they have tried to destroy our family and lie on him. I said, you can't make him stop loving his mother. But you lie when you say that I escalate him. You lie when you say that, you're trying to make it be as a dysfunctional type of situation. I said, but my son, I got him all on tape. Hundreds of tapes. And he's, of course, it's splitting my heart in two because I bet you wouldn't want to go in there or hear your son or daughter tell you on the phone or face to face, all the pain and suffering they're going through because they're telling you how much they miss you and they love you and how they're being mistreated and abused and neglected. I bet you wouldn't want to hear it as a parent. But yet they'll still try to act like, that he gets escalated by me and stuff. But when he's telling me this stuff, guess who he's talking about? He's talking about them. He's not talking about me. And that's why I told that sick Mike Snow, over at CDC and stuff. I said, but you have unqualified workers. Because you'll hear on this audio tape, Marquis telling me, because they tried to put him in day rehab. The idiots didn't have enough sense to know that when you put an autistic person in an environment or any environment, if you're going to admit people, make sure you got qualify employees, and the environment is right for him. He couldn't thrive in that environment. And you'll hear him on his audio tape tell me that he didn't want to go back because it was scary. And I had to call the girl. It's all on tape when I called her. But this is about Marquise's um, expression. So I might make another page where just have the audio tapes of me talking to all the people over the years about how they have teacher. I don't care who it is, just me advocating for my son. But this is about Marquise's audio tapes, and I called her and I told her, I said, don't send him over there tomorrow. Like I said, because it's scary, it's traumatizing him. But if you're going to have a disabled person, then you need to fill their needs as if you want them to thrive. If you're trying to, it's just like at school. It was too noisy at school. They didn't know how to have a quiet environment enough for somebody that's really, really sensitive to audio stimulation. Because a lot of autistic people don't like um, noise and loudness. But sometimes it can make them go into a meltdown. It's a trigger. I'm going like, well, why in the world? You know, so that shows me and tells me that, this is a place that doesn't know how to work with autistic people. Their staff is unqualified. And I said, at least get a halfway decent environment. You don't want to put them in sensory overload. You know, can't you just kind of, just get in your head like, well, wait a minute, this might be too noisy for this autistic resident. But that place was basically for MR. And most mentally retarded residents, they don't have that sensitivity or sensory deficits like a person with autism. They're two different, what, conditions? Let's just say conditions. So but and Marquise even told me later on he was scared to see the MR people that had dribble and um, uh, saliva and they were slobbering on their face and stuff. He actually told me that slobber was coming out of their mouth, and him being an autistic person, he didn't know what to think, and the sounds and the noise. But they were putting him over there. I said, but see, it ain't because that he wants to be a complainer. He can't help he's autistic. But you respect that they would know better if they knew about autism. I said, see, ain't nobody know about autism. Because then you would know that maybe you could at least say, maybe this might be too noisy for this autistic resident. So that shows me, and it's been that way throughout the years. Same way at school. So you'll hear him talk about that, and then he tells me that he wants to leave because the place sucks. And you'll also hear him tell them when he got on the phone one day, and that's real low, but he said, oh, hold on, Mom, I want to tell them to turn down the TV. Because they had the TV up, and he couldn't hear me talking back to him. And he said, could you please turn down the TV so I can hear my mom talking because it's too loud. Now, again, now this resident's on the phone, close to the TV. Do you have some insight or common sense that maybe you might need to turn down the TV so they can hear the mother, so they can hear or be able to have a telephone conversation? Just maybe. But I ain't seen it. I haven't seen anybody, that knew how to work with my son. I'm talking about with these facilities. And then when I speak up about it, I got to be a troublemaker or something like that. But these white parents can raise hell and have a spasm, and it's okay. But a black mother ain't supposed to do that. But I just don't like him lying on my son. I said, well, we'll just go ahead and let people hear what Marquise, in his own words, says about the so-called living conditions and how he really feels about his mom. I said, because that's a bad thing to even lie on a loving, supportive mother. Because I'm a Christian, and, I'm RN, a middle-aged woman, ain't nothing dumb about me. But to lie on an autistic individual, I said, you ain't got to, because you hate me so much. You ain't got to, because you ain't going to make him stop loving me. And you ain't going to make me stop loving him. and you're exposed, ain't nothing you're going to do about it. Because that's still controlled by God. You're even a puppet, controlled by God. And when the appointed time comes, he out of there. God's appointed time. That's the way the Bible, the appointed time. That God's already got this thing already worked out. And you better make sure you're not in his way, and you better make sure that his punishment is not in order. Because he was so angry with Belinky, he just took him off the planet. And made sure I found out about it. Because I had that feeling, but it wasn't coming from me that God was going to punish him when we were talking on the phone. Within an hour, within a year, he was dead and gone. So with that, let me get to this. Like I said, um, the lowest one is of him telling them, um, will you please turn down the phone, the TV, so my mother and I could talk on the telephone. He said he couldn't hear me because the TV was too loud. Then he's telling me how the place sucked and how scary it was over Dahab, and he didn't want to go back, and how he wanted to come home. And again, this is at Columbus Developmental Center, February 4th, 2012, and February 5th, 2012. So let's get to this, and I'll be right back. So there you have it. And of course, I always try to comfort him like a mother would. And he's crying, this place sucks, and I want to come home. And, and he's telling me, about a day, the day had. It was just too scary. And he probably was hearing sounds and seeing things that, as an autistic person, it would be, pretty frightening. And my question is to the scum out there, um, and anybody in government, I don't care, federal, state, county, city, Now, here is a facility that's supposed to be so much better, and you ain't got enough sense to know that maybe at this point, and with the other type of residents and going ons and sights and sounds that you got going over in this day have, that you could put a resident with autism. Because when I first took him over there, it was a girl named Amanda Kelly, and I had him uh, uh, tell her, because they said within 48 or 72 hours they would have a meeting after the admission. And I'm going like, well, I would like to have one as soon as possible. And uh, I said, because I think that y'all need to know about my son and, his triggers and stuff. And she didn't think that was important. I said, well, how in the world could you care or work with or have your staff work with residents, especially autism resident or residents with autism, and you don't know what triggers them? I said, it could be raining and thunder and lightning, and all of a sudden he could almost go in a meltdown. Your staff wouldn't know nothing about it, let alone know how to try to de-escalate. I was just appalled. I was just appalled. And I'll tell every one of them in their face right now, you know, I'm at the point where it's like, talk to the hand, you're scum, deny it all you want and stuff, but I got the evidence. And I think with Marquise's own voice, in his own words, he might not be able to express it that well and stuff, but he was feeling pain, and he was able at least to let me know. And I thank God that he's not verbal, what he was going through. And I said, that's suffering. And he's sitting over there, and they ain't got enough sense to try to put him in another area or try to find staff for his needs, where they maybe had to put him in a separate room or even in the room that he was in. But that wasn't the environment for him to be in. And that's what I was saying, that when he's venting to me, he's not talking about me. He's talking about some staff that done abuse him or assaulted him. He's talking about neglect. He's talking about the environment that they had forced to put him in. He does it now. But then they lie on him. I said, you're lying on my son when you try to say that I am the one that upsets him or escalates him. I said, he talked about what all y'all done put it through. I said, fine, we'll go ahead and because I done listened to it over and over again. It splits my heart, but it's been recorded. We'll put it on out there. That this ain't just my imagination. I ain't full of hot air. This is the stuff I have had to listen to from my son over and over again because of the garbage that we got in our lives. But I got this to say, Jesus will bring him back home. There's a appointed time when everything's going to happen in God's way and plan. No human being or government or organization can stop it. And you better hope that you don't end up like your friend David Blanky. And because I was not going to really say anything about that, but I believe God wants me to remind him, because he did tell me that. This is the reason why I made you get your this newspaper that day that I got it, and this is the reason why I made you get it. And he also said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. And he said, and this is a warning to his friends in the system. You got these judges and Aaron Sanford. You've been getting away with it for a long time, but you better watch yourself when you get to messing with somebody that's in God's will. And that's what I pray. Lord, let me be in your will. I know Marquis is in your will. Then God will take care of it. He'll just tell us, you step right on side and let me deal with these people. Because I'm an overcomer. And he tells us in the book of John, the gospel of John, do not, be troubled. In this world, you're going to have your peace from me. In this world, you'll have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. That includes Aaron Sanford. That includes government, nations, military, people, organizations. He has overcome the world and everything in it. So I appreciate you listening. This goes to the audio tape page. I do not put this on the other two pages. And I probably might make because I've been kind of putting them out there like a week at a time or something, so people will get a chance to listen to it. I don't want to put a whole bunch of them out there, but there's many more to go. Right now, we're in the month of February 2012 with these audio tapes, And like I said, it goes all the way up to the present. So there's many, 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 many more audio tapes of Marquis. And it's the same thing. Loving mom, missing mom, wants to come back home, being abused and neglected and exploited by the staff and the system. Same identical theme. But I might make a page of just recordings of me and staff and Sanford and me advocating and calling probate court and the court investigators and reporting this but some of that stuff is already on the YouTube channels too. But I might just go ahead and make a Facebook page. But anyway, I apologize for the quality. Remember, it's on a micro cassette. It will be um, you you will be hearing the audio tapes um, on the smartphone starting with I think the February 2013 um, recordings, and we haven't got there yet. So um, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to go to the Facebook page. Go to Meyer Tanksy. There's 3 links to the pages. You also are invited to go to the YouTube channel. There's a lot of audio videos in there. Um, and looking forward to mighty, mighty things in 2017. God is in control. Uh, and it'll be nobody but JESUS that brings Marquis back home. And may he receive all the praise, honor, and glory at his appointed time. Thank you very much.